There are many unsung heroes in villages across the UK, and today we're celebrating with one of them. Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Thompson, and welcome to the Village Halls podcast, sponsored by Allied Westminster, the UK's largest specialist provider of village hall insurance and the home of Village Guard. Now, I'm always amazed by how many people across the country give up so much of themselves for their local villages. It's something I've come across repeatedly through presenting this show, and when we invited you all to nominate your unsung heroes for our wonderful Villages Awards last year, it really came as no surprise that this was the category we received by far the most entries for. This, of course, made it very difficult to judge, but Simon Bland, Chairman of Rosebery Village Hall in Lincolnshire, who joins us today, did a sterling job and kindly helped us with that. Thank you very much, Simon, and welcome to the show.
Thanks. I was utterly delighted to have this opportunity and really excited about today's podcast.
And Simon and I are delighted to be joined today by our fantastic winner, Joan Maxfield, and the wonderful Daphne Gwilliam, who nominated Joan on behalf of the committee at English Bicknor Village Hall. Hi, Joan and Daphne, and welcome to you both.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. Simon.
Hi. Now, Joan, let's get straight to it, and let me ask you how it feels to be our unsung hero.
Well, of course, a total shock to be nominated, but yes, very thrilled with the result, and just not aware that I was in for anything like this. I just get on with it and do my whatever I do to help the village hall, and don't expect rewards. But it was very nice, yeah.
Yeah, and so Daphne, when you nominated Joan, did you kind of keep it a little bit of a secret at that stage?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
I didn't tell anyone. Only my husband knew. I didn't tell any of the committee because I never expected really to get anywhere, because I'm not really very good at writing stuff.
Yeah. Well, you did a very good job with your nomination, obviously.
I just wrote the truth and left it at that. So
yeah. And before we talk a bit more about Joan and why you nominated her, tell me a little bit, Daphne, about your village and the village hall there.
Well, it's obviously, yes, the village hall. We're fortunate we've got a separate bar area, so we get a lot of functions. We also we've got the committee, and then we've got what we call our functions offshoot functions committee, which we do fundraising events.
And I'm fascinated by the name of the village. Perhaps one of you can kind of clear that up. I'm guessing it arises from the geographical location, having looked at the map.
Well, yes, because there's also Welsh Bicknor in there, so I suppose.
Yeah, because it's very close to the border, isn't it, with Wales?
Yeah, that's what it says.
But then Welsh Bicknor is in Herefordshire, which is that's just down the road.
Right. Now I'm even more confused. So there's a Welsh Bicknor. Yeah. So there's a Welsh Bicknor as well, but that's in England as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, in Herefordshire.
Okay. Right. Yeah, as I say. Endlessly confused. When I saw that it was English Bicknor, I thought maybe it was a kind of little bit of emphasis, that this is English, not Welsh, because they were so close to the border. But as I say,
that determines the two different ones.
Yes, I guess that's.
Although now Welsh Bicknor is in Herefordshire.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that one. Don't know the answer to that one. It used to be years ago. It was Bicknoffery. So I think the emphasis is on the Bicknor rather than the English. Got
you. Fantastic. Well, that's what you get for asking a question. I tried to clear that one up, and as I say, I'm just more confused than I was. Now, Simon, as lead judge for our Unsung Hero Award, what stood out for you about Joan?
Well, I think every panel, Johnny will say they had the most difficult category, but I truly think the Unsung Hero was lifting the lid on some amazing people doing some amazing things.
Yeah.
And we had a large number of entries. We had of people who'd undertaken major fundraising campaigns, who'd done some crazy sponsored stunts for their hall. There was a whole raft of headline grabbing activity that I'm pretty sure the podcast will revisit in the future.
Yeah.
So why was Joan chosen as the winner? I think the judges were blown away by her 4 decades of behind the scenes work. I have to say, having just retired after 18 years on my committee, I'm but a youngster to Joan's length of service. And it was the nature of support that Joan provided. And I'm pretty sure Daphne only gave us a small glimpse of the work Joan's done. And I remember distinctly that line of being the first to arrive in the kitchen and the last to leave. And it just spoke of such a quiet commitment and the fact that many activities Joan has initiated in the reopening post-COVID. I just know from my own experience, it's those people who turn the hand to anything and everything, who you can rely on to turn up, and who do it in a way that inspires others. They're the real foundations of our village halls. And so we were delighted to have the chance to recognise Joan.
Absolutely. And Daphne, add to that by telling me a little bit, or telling us a little bit about the kind of activities that Joan gets involved in.
Well, she's involved in the, there's a fortnightly Tuesday club meal for the elderly. Obviously, Joan's in the kitchen. She was until COVID for about 30 years, wasn't it? Ran whist in the village hall.
Very good.
But sadly, with COVID, a lot of them were elderly and are no more or don't want to come out anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just, and if you want something done, Joan's always there, turns up. Even weeding, we were getting up weeds in Village Hall and didn't expect Joan to turn up the year before last, but oh yes, she did.
There's always something to be done at a Village Hall.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joan, why do you, like so many others that I mentioned at the beginning, give up so much of your time and energy for your local community?
Well, I'm just able to give up my time at the moment. Well, and over the years, with family support, they've never got in the way. They always welcomed anything that I take on, and there's a good team around. I don't do it on my own.
I love the way you're underplaying this already. You know what I mean? Because I've got a bit of time. You've done it for 40 years.
And before that, it was school activities, school governor, etc.
Yeah. Is it kind of a sense of duty, or is it just a feeling?
I just enjoy. Well, I enjoy doing it. Obviously, yes. I mean, I probably wouldn't do it, but it's always a pleasure to do anything for a good organisation like we are here, and a lovely village. And
give me a memory, Joan. Tell me something that you've helped out that sticks in your mind.
Well, we always have a laugh at some things that happen, but always. I mean, when you go to cook a meal there, and then suddenly you find that something's the matter with the electric, or in recent years we have had a problem that the oven shelf collapsed with the weight of meat that I put in. But no, it's very good, and we get the support from outside, which of course is what it's all about, isn't it? Because if you go work there and then nobody turns up, then
yeah.
But we've got a good name, and especially for food. When there's any event and there's food with it, English Bakery's the place to go.
And a little bird tells me that you had a significant landmark, but it fell during the time of COVID.
Yes. And there again, it fell just, well, in total lockdown. But who arrived? Members of the committee out on the main road singing "Happy Birthday." What more do you want than that?
Now, do you mind if I tell the listeners how old that birthday is?
Birthday yesterday.
Yeah, that was your 80th, I understand, yeah?
In lockdown, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, shame that you couldn't celebrate, but I guess we've got something to celebrate now, haven't we?
We have indeed, yes.
We had
it on Saturday night.
Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, it was just a presentation evening where I received my lovely framed certificate.
Yeah.
And also some flowers from the village hall. And members of the village people from the village came in, and we did the usual food. And I think everybody enjoyed it. It was a very nice social evening, and ended with a game of Skittles.
Brilliant. And who won? Tremendous. Fantastic. It's a feature of village halls, this, isn't it, Simon? The kind of selfless volunteering that Joan embarks on.
It really is fundamental to hosting community activity, and I don't think it's fully appreciated yet. We're recording this on the day of the local elections, and village halls across the country will be playing a part in a major element of our governance and the running of the country. And it's volunteers who will have been up at 6 a.m. opening their hall and will be closing it down late tonight. So, without Joan and the band of many merry people like her, we really would be missing such a fundamental part of our community life.
Absolutely. And Daphne, Joan winning this award meant your hall received £1,000 from Allied Westminster, of course.
Yes.
Of course, was excellent, wonderful. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, well done, Joan.
I've got to say that it's not. We have stressed that it doesn't go to pay electricity or whatever. It's got to be there, and then when Joan finds something we need in the kitchen or wherever, it's earmarked to be spent on something particular, something to remember.
And that's all we're going to say for now, yeah?
Well, because we just, it something will crop up and we will say, Joan will say, that would be, that's what I thought.
So we can have a specific thing that we've spent on the money on. And
yeah, no, that's nice. Yeah, that's lovely. And, it's always good to have that sense of backup, isn't it? These days in particular, to know that you've got something sitting there, because having been through what we all went through with COVID and so on, we know things are not always as we expect.
No, this is why I think we sort of put a lot of effort, more effort probably, into raising money to keep it going.
And Simon, it's great that people like Joan receive some recognition like this, isn't it?
It's just such a small thing that I'm pleased Allied Westminster and the Village Hall podcast could play a role in, because, as I say, this is the underground movement that is keeping village life going. These are the people that make the real difference, and without them, a sort of portfolio of buildings worth many millions would just be idle and empty. And yet they really are now coming back into their own. And I think post-COVID, we're beginning to see how important it is to have an opportunity, a reason, even just an excuse to get back together. And so the work that Daphne and Joan are doing is fantastic.
And what's next, Joan and Daphne? What activities are you getting involved in next? Tell me what's coming up.
The summer fete.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in June. Oh, we've got the spring lunch next Saturday, which is a 3-course buffet lunch.
Brilliant.
Twice a year we do that, and a spring and an autumn.
And what's on the menu, Joan? Have you decided yet?
Yes. Well, the spring one, is a cold buffet that so they come and help themselves. We serve soup first, and then there's a buffet with all your coronation chicken and quiches and ham and potatoes and all that sort of salads, and then we're always noted for our wonderful array of puddings.
Homemade puddings.
Yes, homemade. Yes. It's all homemade. And then the summer fete is held on the field and the premises of English Bittner Village Hall.
That's in the end of June.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hope for some good weather.
Yeah, and with that menu, I'm very tempted to fire up the old sat nav.
And we serve a 3-course lunch for our older people every other Tuesday that come. And like you say, I mean, we were shut down for COVID, and it took a little time to get them, willing to come back and to mix again. But we're now, running full steam ahead now. They all seem to be back. And
well, a 3-course meal is always a great way to
conversations they get. Yeah, social side of it as well as the food.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. That's what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just people bringing people together. And thanks, Joan, for 40 years of service to your community is a fantastic achievement. And thanks again, Daphne, as well for bringing Joan to our attention. Well done, both of you.
I'm just so pleased, and thank you very much, Simon, for for choosing Joan. It was a real surprise, and a lovely, lovely surprise.
Unsung no more, Joan.
Well, thank you very much, all of you, and Daphne, for thinking that I was worthy of it. Absolute pleasure. And like I say, I know you've played a lot of this down. I know from Daphne, how much you brought to the village and the community there. So brilliant. Well done.
Excellent.
And thanks, Simon, as well, for coming on. It's always great to hear from you.
No, fantastic. And thanks, Johnny, for the opportunity. And thank you, Joan and Daphne, again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much all we have time for this episode. For our next one, we'll be talking about how we're going to be organising this year's Wonderful Villagers Awards, and we'll be inviting more of last year's winners onto the show and other guests as the year progresses. Many thanks to our headline sponsor and specialist insurance provider, Allied Westminster, for making our podcast possible, and whose services you can discover more about at villageguard.com, and to online booking system provider Hallmaster, who also sponsor our podcast and can be found at hallmaster.co.uk. You've been listening to the Village Halls podcast, a unique listening community for Britain's village, church and community halls, and anyone interested in the vital community services they provide. We'll be back again soon with another episode. For more information, please visit thevillagehallspodcast.com, where you'll also find links to our social media pages. Thanks again for listening in, and until the next time, goodbye for now.